So before we start the Fish Wednesday species, we're going to give a shout out to Aquarium Coop or Cop, however, you want that pronounced. But go subscribe to his channel. It's Aquarium COP if you want to type that in. He recommended the fish for this week. So make sure you go subscribe to him. He's part of the fish fam. He uploads a lot of different type of videos, everything aquarium related. So if you want to check him out, another aquarium channel to go subscribe to. But today we're going to talk about a fish that I actually thought was actually a really good recommendation, because it's definitely one of the more different fish, and that's what I kind of look for when I'm doing these videos. I don't want to just do the plain fish that, there's a million tutorials on YouTube already. I kind of want to do the stuff that's a little different, something that'll grab more people's attention. And this one is still fairly common, but I think it was a very good choice to do this week, and that is the ghost glass catfish. And you might be wondering, it has the sometimes when you see it in a PetSmart or a Petco, it might actually have catfish in its name, or maybe glass catfish, ghost catfish, and it's not a bottom feeder though. It's actually a middle to top layer swingfish. It never even goes to the bottom unless it's hiding. But the reason it gets its name, the reason it has catfish in its name, is because it actually does have whiskers just like a catfish. So that's where that comes from, and the glass actually comes from, and I'll show you a picture right here, is that its body is actually clear. If we see right here, if we get focused on that, their bodies are actually clear. And this one is a little bit darker, but if you go in a pet store, they look way clearer in person, and I've seen them many times, and they're probably the coolest looking fish, probably out there. And you think catfish, you probably think they might be a little aggressive. They're actually very peaceful. They're not going to mess with all your fish, so if you have a community tank, these will be perfectly fine. If they're by themselves, that might be a little more of a problem. They might get, maybe stressed, they won't eat, and they might attack other fish. That's a possibility. But these fish are schooling fish, so keeping them in groups, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10, 12, if you can get that much, it's definitely going to be better. They like being in groups. They stay really tight in the group if you ever seen them in stores. So, but tank size, if you're going to have 6, if you're going to at least have 6, I would say a 30-gallon, maybe a 40-gallon, kind of like this tank. Anything bigger, you want to probably start switching it up to maybe a 55. But because these fish do get 4 inches long, obviously not every glass catfish isn't going to get that big, but expect 3 to 4 inches if they stay alive for their full length. But water conditions, if you have a community tank and it's doing well, and your numbers are staying stable, that's really all that matters. But for reasons, if you want to really keep these things, maybe even try to breed them. Nobody's ever bred them, but the conditions you probably want that is, tropical temperatures, 75, 80, 7.0 pH, which is usually the community fish kind of level for pH, around 7, 6, 7. And then hardness, 8 to 12. Some of that might not matter to you guys, but some people really need that information. But they don't really range in many colors. You're going to find them about the same. Some might be a little bit clearer than others. I've seen some that are a tad bit, they're almost gray, and some of them are just super clear and white. So, all of them are pretty much the same. But the thing that's cool about the glass catfish is it's not just a clear appearance, it's actually, a living skeleton. You can actually see pretty much all the visible organs that it has. Some of them might be too small to recognize, but some of the organs that you'll be able to see is stuff like the swim bladder, the vertebrae that goes down its back, are some of the things that are pretty visible. Maybe its stomach, are some of the more visible things you can see through the fish. So if you kind of like weird fish that you can see through its body, then go for it. If you're gonna, most of these fish I see, they're probably $3, $4, $5 a piece. They're actually really not that expensive, unless you're buying in bulk. If you get a group of 6, it's only gonna be about $25. So really not a really expensive fish for how cool it looks. But other names that they could possibly be called, because obviously every country is kind of different. Obviously, kind of here, the common name is the ghost glass cats, but they're also the Indian ghost, the ghost fish, the glass catfish, the glass cats. All basically the same. As long as it has glass in its name, it's probably the right thing. But ghost, not ghost knife, but the glass catfish, it doesn't really like a lot of high light. So if you have like a high-tech planted aquarium, it does like a lot of plants, it does like a lot of rocks, it likes a lot of things to hide in, but you might have to stick on the low plant side or not even have a plant take it all, or at least have fake plants, something they can hide in. But they really don't like high light, so I wouldn't put them in no high tech tank if I was me. But these fish will look really cool under light though. Like if you have certain settings to your light, maybe you have purple in your light. These fish will really look cool under certain conditions. If you kind of mess around with your light, you can really make these catfish look pretty cool. But when it comes to breeding, like I said, they're extremely difficult to breed. It's not like they've never been bred before. It's just the likelihood that you would breed them is pretty slim to none. There's some people that have been able to breed them, and usually they just scatter eggs everywhere, and they usually probably get eaten. So the chances of you actually getting them to breed is very slim. But if you want to try and be the first one, go right ahead. But ghost catfish, they are omnivores, so meaty, veggie foods. Their diet could be really anything you feed your community fish, whatever you like to feed. I would say feed them any variety of food. Maybe some flakes one day, some frozen the other day, and maybe some pellet or something the third day. Just kind of change it up. You don't want to feed this. And that goes for any fish. You don't just want to feed the same food every single day. But yeah, I mean that's the glass catfish. Um, yeah, there's nothing much else to talk about for this fish. Very unique and probably something that's probably the one of the cooler fish that not a lot of people even buy. It almost seems like a weird fish every time you see it in person. But I think it's, a very cool fish. The fact that you can see organs through it. It's kind of weird how its skin is like that, where you can clearly see its organs, its spine, and everything on it. But, oh, and one other thing. If you do net these out, I don't think its whiskers are long enough to even bother. But nets, you want to have a fine net, because whiskers like this will get stuck in the net, and they try to get them out. You're most of the time you end up ripping it out, and that's happened many times when I had a pictus catfish, which honestly is such a cool fish. I actually had one. I wish I got it on video when I had my 10-gallon, but it didn't live. It didn't live very long because I'm pretty sure the conditions, something in my water probably wasn't right. But I had cichlids at the time, so I'm pretty sure they attacked it. Even though the thing was 4 inches big, I don't know, but its whiskers were super long if you guys have them, and it got stuck and actually ripped like half its whisker off. So be aware of anything that got whiskers. That goes for cories, corydoras, any catfish. And not saying it's gonna happen to this fish because its whiskers really aren't that long, but you want to be a little careful. Maybe not even use a net. Maybe scoop it and put it in the tank with a container. That's what I'd probably recommend. Just you don't hurt your fish. Some people pay good money for your fish, and you don't want to already damage them, and they haven't even been in your tank yet. But yeah, if if you don't have glass catfish at your local fish store or a Petco or PetSmart, if you don't even have one of them, Live Aquaria has ghost catfish. You know, probably anybody on eBay or something would have go. You know, they're easy. They're easy to get, so I mean, you won't really have trouble finding these fish. But yeah, expect to pay 4 or 5 a piece. That's probably about it's as expensive they get. If they're bigger, they might be a little more, but $4 or $5 is about what I think they would cost for anybody out there. But yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and if you got another fish for next week, you know, just like Aquarium Coop, um, we'll give you a shout out next video. We'll talk about your fish, a little 10-minute tutorial, and same goes for plants. Recommend a plant, we'll do it. For now, right now, I've been doing a lot of, you know, fish species, but I'm mostly free on Wednesdays to do videos, so that's why I usually do them. But definitely, if we get the plant thing going again, I'll definitely will do plants again. But other than that, comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.